Hello, Daria. Hello, Kate.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
So today I want to discuss with you ladies about the cultural differences, especially since we're in Canada and top of all Toronto. This is one of the most culture clashing city in the world. So how do you think the clash of the cultures can impact the modern day relationships?
In a relationship, it's the same as we are forming the relationships in their society. So in order for us to understand a different person with their cultural background, and as we are living in a cultural diverse society, we already have this experience of adapting to different cultural norms. So when we are forming in a relationship with a partner from a different culture, we already know how it is. So how we are accepting a different person with different habits from us.
What do you think, Kate?
I think there are two opposites. Usually when person first immigrates, they either are looking for the same culture and they're trying to get someone from the same culture, so it's easier for them to be here and, to assimilate, or the opposite. They're running away from their culture, from their people, and they're trying to find someone completely opposite, thinking that, okay, I'm so done with like my people, so I'm gonna just try and find someone else. And then the clash happens when you actually imagine something like in your head that, oh, it's gonna be so different, and it's like people romanticize it a lot, but at the end of the day, if it's a relationship, it's still it takes some work to make it work.
I actually noticed that once when you say that people are trying to run away from their culture. I met that person at an event called Mundalingo. Munda means world and Lingo means languages, world of languages. So basically people who speak various languages go to that event and they wear the flag of which language they speak. So I'm not going to say from which country that person was, but when I said to him, hey, I noticed another guy from... with the same flag as you, and I was about to tell him where he is, and he told, no, don't tell me where he is. I came here to get out from them. I don't want more of me.
You see, yeah, some people, they're just running away.
Yeah, so I think if people are running away, they should really adopt to the new culture that they're coming into. So you mentioned background, so I thought the next question would be really good for that, as to how can couples navigate and respect another person's cultural background? Because sometimes the cultures don't exactly mix. Sometimes they can be complete opposites. What I mean is, for example, I'm not sure from which country. I think it might be from Japan, where people come very close to another person, like face to face. I'm probably mistaken on this one, but I'm sure there is a country with that because it was in one of the books. And to some people, it's very normal to come face to face, very close, and other people consider that extremely weird. And how can we respect and compromise with opposite cultures in our friends or relationship backgrounds?
Okay, to me, it feels like when you're already going on a date, and when you already, like if we're talking about romantic relationship, when we're going on a dates and we're already forming this the loving relationship between us, it means that we already understand each other. And when it comes down to traditions or some small cultural differences, or maybe there are big cultural differences, but they should feel small when you're in a love with your partner. It's the same as if the person is from the same culture, but they're coming from a different family with different traditions in their family. Yes, it's easier to understand the person who comes from your culture, how they usually react to something. But to be honest, even people from different families, they could have holidays they celebrate or they do not celebrate, even if they're coming from the same culture. So to me, if we are talking about the romantic relationship, it is understandable that we have to talk to the person and discuss how can we handle this situation together. So I do know people that prefer to live with their parents, and it is very for us, I'm from Russia. So to me, it sounds not intuitive to live with my parents. I would never do it, because to me it's the opposite. I have to separate my family from my first family in order for me to have space to form the relationship with my husband and get to have my own kids. But people from like those cultures, they see it in a different way, and they have a perfect logical explanation why it's important to live with their parents.
Well, today the explanation mostly is the finance because of how. I'm serious about that.
But that's true.
Every person always talks about the finance, but what we have today, the ratio, if we go back to the 1980s, the up to today's date, the house prices have went up 10%. Not 10%, 10 times. That would be 900%.
Okay.
And the salaries, they went no higher than twice more. That's only 100% more.
Okay.
So they only doubled. So that's 5 times of the difference. From we have to pay 5 times more than our parents did from our salaries
to buy a house.
to actually afford the house that you're talking about. So that's the common explanation. Or are there other logical explanations people use today? Because I don't know, I never dated any guys.
No, well, I haven't dated either. I just like that's what I've heard, but it's mostly like that they have to take care of their parents and they have to show their respect.
That's actually a very logical one. And there's a part that I want to mention, part of the Gentleman Network. I believe that the men should step up and try out the girls' version of her traditions. Because unless it's illegal, it's not going to hurt him.
I feel like it's like both, like the synergy of both partners. We like, as I was saying, like when we love each other, we still trying to adapt to each other's, you know, like habits or anything. So like if there are some cultural differences, I feel like it's both men and women who are adapting to each other. And I feel like it's like, if it's very serious to me, like as a girl, like for example, if it's like this tradition is very important to me and to my culture, I expect my partner to accept it, but at the same time I'm willing, if there is something you are feeling strong about, I will adapt it as well.
Yeah, compensate basically.
Yeah.
What about the language? Do you think that the partner, the guy, should learn the language of their
Yes.
loved one?
A big yes. This is something I couldn't understand. I see some of the boyfriends or even husbands of the girls not speaking her language fluently, and I'm really surprised to that. I would have learned my wife's language if it was German or French or whatever it is. So my wife speaks Ukrainian, and I'm from Ukraine as well. So we didn't really have the opposite clashes.
Right.
But would you do that because of the culture or because you want to speak to her parents? Like, what would be the reason why you want to learn the language?
Out of respect.
Out of respect, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's something a man should do. And it's basic communication because also there's a lot of translation troubles where the translation goes horribly wrong. If the translation goes back and forth too much, for example, there was a situation where a person was talking about cow's tongue. And this was translated back and forth, and at the end, the person ended up talking about the cow language.
Oh, okay.
I think you can understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was between the Russian and English, so you can see how it goes back and forth from cow tongue to cow language.
Yeah.
Should there be a prenuptial agreement between couples with different cultural backgrounds?
I think the prenuptial agreement should not depend on the cultural background. It depends on the preferences of two people, and I believe that if a person has something to lose and he wants to protect or she wants to protect her assets, I don't see anything against the prenuptial agreements. And I mean, we all believe in love and until you die and everything like that. But if someone worked really hard or their family worked really hard for something, for that person to have, why they have to split it at the end of the day if the marriage, breaks down. Same for me. If, let's say, someone would ask me to sign a prenuptial agreement, I would sign that because I'm pretty confident about like my resources, so I don't want to depend on someone else. But in terms of baby, like if you have children, then I would want some protection for my children.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think the husband needs to want that as well.
Yeah.
What do you think, Daria? Unless you have something else to add.
I'm the same. Like, I don't think it depends on the culture. It's just like on your personal preference. If you want to sign it, I don't mind people signing prenuptial agreements. I don't think it makes your relationship like look like you have less emotions there or less love if you sign one. It's only depending on how you would like to protect your like ancestry, like your assets, like what your family already built, or if it's your own job, like if you built already like something and you have like so many assets, I don't think anyone should own it. Yeah,
It scared a lot of young men to death today.
Oh, really?
Because of all the movies, all the media that's been given around. The movies repeatedly show how the husband loses absolutely everything when he goes into divorce or something, and the wife gains everything. One of the movies for that is, for example, Crazy Stupid Love. She gets the house, she gets the custody of the children, and he basically gets nothing. It's a really weird movie. It's a comedy,
Yeah.
but it's not the only one. There's a
Doesn't
lot
sound
of
like
movies
a
that.
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how the
very
movie
sad.
starts. They get back together in the end. Sorry for the spoilers. It's a very funny movie with Ryan Gosling.
But I see what you're saying, because a lot of girls, like in the society that we live nowadays, or when in the society that we were brought up, a lot of girls were dreaming about like getting married and having a husband and having a house and having kids, and all of the guys were scared of this of this responsibility. And also at the same time, the movies were showing us, okay, if you're gonna get married, you'll divorce at some point and you'll lose everything. So the guys, like the girls, it's the girls' dream to get married, but the guys more and more, they started like to be scared of like that huge responsibility that would put on them, that like, oh, if I'm getting married, it's equally that I'm losing everything that I own.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. I don't know what the media actually has done to scare the girls, but I'm pretty sure there are some stuff. So let's see.
Scared to get married?
Yeah. What are the effective ways to celebrate and integrate diverse traditions within a relationship? So how do people with different cultures, how do they celebrate these things? Should they memorize all the traditions that the other person has if they never heard of them before, or what do you think?
Okay, I have a partner. We are both from Ukraine, but we have some cultural differences, even though we're like from the same country. But in his family, it wasn't like very traditional to celebrate Christmas or like birthdays. They were not like party people, I guess. And he didn't understand like how important it was for me. And we were just when we just started dating, I also expected him to eat us at the same time in the evening, because that's how I was brought up with my dad and my mom. Like when my dad comes home, we would sit down, and that when we will have dinner. And for him, it was like, well, if you're hungry, just go and eat. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we have to do it together. And I think, again, we are from the same culture, but we were brought up in different families and different traditions. And I had to show him that it's important for me, and that, you know, I would love for you sometime to have a dinner with me or to celebrate Christmas. And then out of respect, and because like he would appreciate it, that it's important for me, then he would agree to do that. But still, to this day, it's not every day that we would have like a meal at the same time. Well, right now, just because we have a baby, that's why it's like very difficult. But before that, yes, we would do this. But again, just because he really appreciated my willing to celebrate it or to have it at the same time, he was like, okay, let's do this.
I feel that if I have kids in the future, that's something my kids are gonna complain about, because since I was little, when one of my parents was started to eat, they asked me, why am I not eating? And I say, I'm not eating until dad comes, or I'm not eating until mom comes. And then basically as a teenager, I'm not eating until the host comes. And as an adult, basically it's even worse.
I
So
feel
it's like
you.
I love your story. That is so. It sounds so cute, especially to me.
I feel
What
you.
about you, Daria?
I feel like it's the most fun part when two cultures come together and you get to celebrate all the holidays, because I love celebrations. I love holidays. So the more they are, like, bring them on me. I want to have them. I love learning about like different cultures and their traditions. And I feel like it's just like so much fun. I wish one day I would come to an Indian wedding. I feel like it's so much fun. There's so many traditions, so many celebrations. It's just like it's one of my dreams to
Mine
go
too.
to one.
Mine too.
So I feel like maybe there are cultures when they contradict each other, like it's, like they have a holiday on the same day and they're it contradicts like two traditions, so I feel like at that point we do need to have a conversation. But if it's on the different days, just like, yeah, I'll do them on, like I'll do them all, like, yeah, I love holidays.
Yeah, I really like India as well. My dad especially loves all the Indian cultures. There's a situation where we went to the Swaminarayan temple. It's a very famous Indian temple, and the one of the hosts over there was trying to tell my father about a lot of Indian traditions, and my father knew more about them than the host did. Oh, that was
Because your dad is so much like into India.
He's really into Hindu since teenage days. Yeah, but I'm Christian, so. How can couples address and overcome cultural misunderstandings? Because we've been talking about a lot of situations, how we love the other differences, but there are situations where we get into obstacles, where we simply cannot exactly adapt to them. So how do we overcome that little obstacle?
Okay, so I have one that I don't think we can all relate to, but I think we'll all understand the feeling. So people walking in shoes inside the home. Like, to me, I just don't understand how can people walk in shoes or go on the couch with their shoes on. That is something I feel like the only way how to deal with this kind of like culture is just, I don't know, like in my house there are like no shoes. Like no shoes are allowed. It's like you have to understand it, and I feel like it's not hygienic, like to have your shoes on. So I feel like at that point I was just I'm gonna say this is like my boundary, that like personal boundaries that you cannot cross. So in my house you have to take the shoes off. So yeah, like it's just the example I thought like that first came to my head. The example of how cultures are clashing, and it's something so difficult to understand. Like, to me, do you have like something like that is very difficult for you to understand why people do it?
Well, I would agree with shoes as well, for sure. But I wanted to say that you either accept and respect like someone else's tradition, and like you can live with this. But if this is something crucial for you, maybe like it's a religion or something, then I don't think the relationship is possible. Because if it's let's say if marriage is important for one partner, and for the other one it's he's like scared of the marriage and of the prenuptial agreements and stuff like that. So if it's very important for one, then the relationship cannot go anywhere like in the future, because, well, one is not happy like how things work, then the other one just imposes his like wishes and beliefs in the traditions and cultures. So I think either you accept it and you guys live together and you learn how to, we either, let's say, I think Jewish people, they do not celebrate Christmas. And in Canada, we have Christmas. So either you celebrate it and then you celebrate some of the Jewish holidays, let's say, or you're like, okay, we're two different people, we cannot move on together. So I think like we should stop, and that's it. And you will just move on.
Yeah, to either overcome it or move on. Personally, I believe that if it's not going to hurt you, there's nothing that's stopping you from actually trying it.
Yeah.
As I said from the first questions, that's just do it. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to die from this.
Yeah.
As you mentioned about the shoes, a lot of people do not understand how important this can be. Even something as small as the shoes can be extremely insulting to the other person.
Yeah.
There was an example for this from a completely different culture, but I think I should bring this up, from the Ukrainian TV series Heads or Tails, where the host goes to the different country and they just live there for a day or three, and they tell about their cultures. And the woman who was wearing significantly like shirt skirt or a basic skirt, and the part where she can her shoulders can be seen, and she explained that when she's in the subway, if she wears that, the people in that country, it would be the same to them as if a completely naked woman was riding in the subway. Those people were raised like that from the childhood. So same with the shoes that you're talking about. It can, to other people, it can be as much as hitting someone with a shoe. Because again, it's childhood tradition. It shows that you respect a person and they're cleaning. And again, it's not going to hurt you to try it.
I mean, like, I agree with you. It doesn't hurt you, like, if you're gonna try it. But as also Kat's mentioned, and as what you're mentioning with the like subway example, just like some things are so important and so crucial to you, and so written down in your DNA that you just cannot accept it. But I feel like if two people love each other, they will accept everything. So like you will just understand the other person. You will just get it. If you're maybe you're just like you thought at first you thought you have like similar interests and you should be together, but then the more your relationship develops, you just understand that you're totally two different people that just met at the right place at the right time for the right amount of time, and now we have to end it and move on.
Yes, I think another perfect example is what you said about when people clash in the wedding is important and the prenup isn't important, so just put the two together. You give her the wedding and it's like she gives you the prenup, and this goes in a perfect way because both people want it. It's basically how the weddings used to be. That's all the 5 questions that we were supposed to answer. And so again, Kateryna, it was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Paul.
Also very nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Paul.
Whoops.
Thank you so much for inviting us.